Hey YouTube, this is Robinats1 here, and welcome back to Arrow Reviews. This episode, thankfully, looks like, the show is back on track. This episode was pretty enjoyable, and it sets up this supernatural world that, we're being introduced to. And this review, is kind of mostly going to be speculative, as, there were a lot of hints to a lot of aspects and obviously stuff that I know that is coming up in the near future is going to be discussed, and how, and I'm going to relate that to, this episode. So basically, we're introduced to an Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoke, who are very happy. They're living this suburban lifestyle. Oliver seems to be absolutely loving this suburban lifestyle. And he's happy. And I think that's the first thing that you can really take away from this episode, is that nowhere throughout this episode is there a dark moment with Oliver Queen. He definitely feels like a very changed character, and I really like that, because it brings this light back into the show that has always been missing from it, and I think it's beginning to separate this show from the Batman movies and the Batman character. This is really bringing the character of Green Arrow back to, the Green Arrow, and kind of separating the comic book aspects to the Batman movie stuff, which the show has always had that problem of failing to distinguish what makes Green Arrow, and what makes Batman, and a lot of the times Arrow has, far often than not, merged them, and it looks like in this episode they're beginning to separate them, and I think hopefully at the end of this season we're going to see the Green Arrow who is very different to the one that we know and love. To the one that we've been used to. So, yes. On the other side, we have Team Arrow fighting off against the Hive Group, led by Damien Darhk, who, basically, in the first episode, it's boom. This character automatically goes after Starling City in a big way, and I think that was pretty interesting, because automatically we set up this aspect to the character, to this season. The big bad is face value. Now we're going to take ground running. And that part I really liked. So yeah, Team Arrow then get Oliver Queen and Felicity, bring them back to Starling City, which looks completely destroyed. It doesn't feel like Starling City. Sorry, Star City, because they've renamed it. But yeah, Star City feels like a very different city. People have left the city, so it feels very, very barren and very, very dark and gloomy, and I found that very, very interesting. And obviously the team have a lot of conflict with, there's a lot of conflict between Diggle and Oliver due to the events of last season, and it looks as if Diggle is going to start keeping secrets from Oliver, which may have a huge impact on their relationships. So what did I think about the episode? Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought there were a lot of interesting elements being introduced into the show, and the show is setting up some very, very important details. I definitely feel very, very interested in Damien Darhk. We do know that Constantine, the same one that I reviewed last year, if you remember, the Constantine TV show that I reviewed is coming into the show, and I think the darkness that is supposedly rising very much interlinks what's going on with Damien Darhk, and that Damien Darhk is tapping into these supernatural forces, which I find really, really interesting. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited about Damien Darhk and what he's introducing to the show. My only issue is it feels slightly too much like Ra's al Ghul still. It feels as if the show is just recycling that aspect to the character. So I really hope they make the Hive very, very distinguished. That there is a clear difference between what the League of Assassins were doing and what the Hive are doing. Because we do need that distinction, and hopefully the Hive can be a better organisation than Season 3's League of Assassins. It's also hinted at that someone very, very important will die. It can't be Sarah Lance, because obviously she's in Legends of Tomorrow, and if they were to kill off Sarah Lance, it would be official. That character is immortal, and is the Phoenix. That's right, she's the Dark Phoenix. But no, I do genuinely reckon that this might be the Felicity death. I do genuinely believe that this might be Felicity at that grave, or in the grave. So yeah, not a lot more to touch upon. Great episode, good start to the episode, and I look forward to episode 2. So I'm Robin That's One here, and do please stay tuned for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash and Heroes Reborn. I meant to review them on Wednesday, but I got really busy. So they're going to be reviewed on Friday. So yeah, I'm Robin One here, and I shall see you all then. Bye.